Seven Deadly Sins, chapter 197. This chapter was basically not a recap, an aftermath after the battle. It's an aftermath chapter. And at the beginning of this, you have a Hauser scene. Why do I keep calling him Hoser? Hauser scene. Where he is with his family, he interacts with them, he's waking up in the morning, he's getting ready to go out and do his job, preparing for the day. And I'm thinking, okay, something important is going to happen with him later on in this chapter, but I don't know what's going to go on. But, okay, we get a scene with a character I don't really care about, but, okay. Character development, you know, I want to see some more side characters, that'd be nice. So, in the next scene, though, you have fucking Escanor bathing Merlin, and she's just there chilling with her book, her feet are out, and he's rubbing her legs and feet, and he is like all blushing, he's enjoying the shit out of it. Escanor, dude, own that shit, man. Merlin just doesn't give a shit. Like, I'm not so sure what to think about this shipping. I mean, we know that Escanor has a huge crush, or like he's basically in love with Merlin. I don't know how Merlin feels about Escanor though. From her actions though, it seems to me that she probably has feelings for Escanor too. What I like about romances and what they do sometimes is that when you have one character who you know is in love with another person through like maybe some dialogue, but then you have another person who you can figure out is in love with that person just based on their actions. So the fact that Merlin is allowing Escanor to bathe her, I think that's a huge action and shows that she probably has feelings for him too. So I like that about this. Merlin isn't one for like expressing her feelings through words or an info dump. She does through action, and that's what I liked about that little scene. Even though it was a comedic based scene for romance, when you read so much manga and the romance is done pretty damn bad, and it just pisses you off, and it's just a bunch of information of them talking in exposition instead of doing it through action. I like that little scene. It was really cute. It was very funny. But the rest of the scene is basically Merlin telling everyone, listen, we won this victory, but we still have a long road ahead of us. The Ten Commandments are still on about, and they're still wreaking havoc. This is a huge victory for us, though, and she recognizes that. So she tells everyone, you know, it's nice to chill out for a little or, like, relax and embrace the victory. And I really like that about Merlin's character. She's like bringing everyone back down to earth. Don't relax, guys. We won, but let's keep going forward. And then you have a scene with Meliodas and Bond. And Bond tells him, he apologizes for looking at him the way he did in the other past chapter. Because he wasn't so sure how to look at Meliodas. And Meliodas accepts his apology. And then they go back to being the buddy-buddy, you know, hit each other type of friendship. And I got a couple laughs out of this chapter, man. A little nostalgia from the beginning of the story, where Meliodas just smacks Band into the wall and he's all bleeding, but then he heals immediately. But the Seven Deadly Sins, the interactions with each other, is one of my favorite things about this story. I love all of their characters and how they deal with their problems and how they deal with conflict that is in between the group. Going back to the Hauser scene, we get a different scene that kind of like foreshadowed what was going to happen. Apparently the Holy Knights is going to get a new captain, and that captain ended up being Hauser. The king chose Hauser, and I'm thinking, okay, well, that was pretty damn predictable for this chapter because you showed a scene with Hauser in the beginning. Now, me personally, I would have liked it maybe if they didn't show that scene with Hauser and they chose him as captain, but then they showed his family scene after, like the next chapter. Because I'm like, okay, it's pretty obvious it's going to be Hauser who's going to be the captain because you already showed a scene. But, you know, personally, I want a little shock value, you know, a little not build up, but like shock value every now and then. But it was a nice scene. Or like, it was pretty cool. They chose Hauser and everyone was like ripping on him and like making fun of him. I was like, oh, you're just a substitute. And like the comedy in this chapter was just so like nice and refreshing and calmed down from the previous chapter. And all the other chapters with all the battles that have been going on. The last 2 pages, there's like one page where you're like, what the hell? And then the next page, it goes back to comedy. Gowther, they get him out of jail. And he says, oh, I'm the goat sin, 7 deadly sin. And then the next scene, he goes, I'm the 10 commandment. And then it cuts off from there. I'm like, what the fuck? What happened with Gowther? Like, is he going back and forth between 10 commandment and 7 deadly sins? What's going on here? And I'm just like, they cut off from that scene. I'm like, fuck, man, fucking cock tease. Jesus. I can't wait for the next chapter because Gowther so far is like, next to Merlin, he's also a mystery. I want to see what happened with him in his past and what he did to cause his 10th commandment to backfire on him, for him to lose all his memories. Because he is the 10th commandment of selflessness. And it's obvious that he did something that wasn't selfless, and it backfired on him and backtracked. But then the last scene, you got Diane and Mr. Fairy King, and you know how it is with them. We got some naked fan service, and of course Diane, her memory's gone, which I think has been kind of bothering about this chapter, that Diane, oh fuck man, why did they always have to hold back this ship? But it was a nice, funny scene. Decent chapter, really funny, really nostalgic for me. And I'll give it, I guess, 3.8 out of 5 stars. Hope you guys like this review. Fantard out.